So, you can take a brief look at your training test there. I don't know that I can say that there was one section that got anyone, I mean, overall, more than the other sections. I had several people in the class that that got very good scores on the real music. In fact, I think several people in the class didn't miss a single point on the real music, which was very nice. That was encouraging. Some people, I think, somehow got lost or lost their way in the melodic dictation. But again, there were several melodic dictations that were very good, so I can't say that there was one section across the board that stumped people. In the harmonic dictation, the second to last measure, there were 2 5 chords and there was a 1-6-4 chord. 1-6-4, for our purposes, 1-6-4 always comes before any 5. So writing 1-6-4 after 5 is not a good idea. It just doesn't make a lot of common sense. I know that that can happen in certain pieces of music, but we're not really at that point yet. So just make sure if you have 1-6-4 and a couple 5s or a couple 1-6-4s and a 5, make sure all your 1-6-4s are before all of your 5s, and that'll make the most logical progression when it comes to that. You can also see the score that you got on your sightseeing test. You put that underneath your name. And let me ask, does anyone want to hear anything from this test again on the piano? Okay. You can, obviously, I used to, as you guys know, I used to post grades outside my office after each test. I no longer need to do that since you have access to your grade on Canvas. You can check it whenever you need to. So let me come around and I'll collect these tests back, and then we'll move on to something else for today. So. So today, those of you that are here, I'm glad you are here. Not right away, but maybe in about 10-15 minutes, we are going to start melodies in minor keys today. It's about time, right? We've gone through 2 1/3 semesters, I guess, of aural skills, and we haven't really had to sing any melodies in minor keys yet. So it's high time we start doing that, and this is the unit that we do start doing that in. Before we get into some melodies, I would like to look at some rhythms out of your sightseeing book. So if you could open up in your text to page 149, and then another thing I just realized I forgot to do is give you the next assignment sheet. Why do I have page 149 on? That's not the right page. How did I write that? I want to say page 160. Yeah, let's go to 160 instead. Yeah, 160. Okay. So, just glancing at this Unit 2 assignment sheet, there aren't many classes in this unit either before we have another pair of tests. Tentatively, our next ear training test is scheduled for Monday, October 19th, and the sightseeing test is currently scheduled for Tuesday, October 20th. And I will have to look, I'm assuming that the sightseeing test is going to still be outside of class. Yeah, so I don't know why I put it on Tuesday, probably that's because the end of the unit fell. And I didn't want to put it too far away from the ear training test. So let's plan on that tentatively. You can also see that there is no ear training assignment for Wednesday. And I did that on purpose. So the good news is perhaps that you have no ear training to practice and work on between now and Wednesday, just out of your sightseeing book. And that's because I wanted to spend the whole class period really digging into and getting the sound of the minor keys and the minor scale ingrained in our minds so we can start practicing singing those melodies. Okay? So no ear training assignment for Wednesday, just some practice from the sightseeing book for Wednesday. Very well. Now, on page, what did I say, 160, the rhythms in this unit out of the sightseeing book, they do involve values at the subdivision of the beat level in simple meter, just like our last unit. However, we're going to pick up these rhythms with rhythm 1019 on the bottom of page 160. There's not much of a difference, but what is the difference between the meter signatures in 1019 through 1024 versus the time signatures in 10:1 through 10:18? It's not a big difference, but can anyone see a difference? Okay, so starting with 1019 through 1024, we're going to be dealing with rhythms in less common meters. That is, anything but the quarter note serves as the beat. So in 1019, for instance, as Natanya said, the half note gets the beat. In 1024, for instance, the eighth note gets the beat. And there are some on page 162 that are also in what I call less common meters. That is, they're still simple meters, but the quarter note does not serve as the beat. So we have to, again, readjust our thinking only slightly, like we have in prior chapters in this book, where we look at what the beat is and then we calculate what the division and what the subdivision of the beat are. Let's take a look at 1019, for example, near the bottom of page 160. If the half note is the beat, what would I say for the eighth notes? Did somebody say? What would I say, like for instance in measure 2, what would I speak for the eighth notes?
1 E and
Okay, 1 E and 2 E and those kinds of things. So in other words, in 1019, the eighth note is the subdivision. That's our really quick speed. 1 E and 2 E and. The quarter notes are the regular division, 1 and 2 and then of course we know the half notes are the beat. Okay, so there's several meters, several examples in that meter where the half note gets the beat. Can we go ahead and I'd like you to mark something in your sightseeing book for me? Can you either bracket or group or circle 1019 and 1020 together? I want to treat them as one exercise. You see how 1019 is in 2/2 and 1020 is in cut time? What is cut time equivalent? 2/2. So really what I'd like you to do is treat 1019 as the first line and 1020 as the second line of just one big, a little bit longer example. Because otherwise they're just really brief. So ignore the final bar line at the end of 1019 and just keep on going through 1020. Okay, before we put conducting and tapping into this, I'd like us all to take a minute and I'd like us to read out loud together, speak out loud together, I should say, what we would say for all the measures of 1019 and 1020. Okay? And maybe we can even do it in rhythm. Okay? So you don't have to put the conducting or the tapping together yet. I just want to speak the syllables that we need to say. How about a tempo? Let's all do this together. How about a tempo of 1, 2, go. 1, 2, 1 E and a 2, 1 E and a 2, and 1 and a 2, 1 and a 2, and a 1, a 2, a 1 and 2 E and 1 E and a 2. Yeah, that's not that difficult, right? Now let's coordinate it with the conducting and the tapping. So we're using the 2 pattern, and we'll take a similar tempo. Let's put everything together, reading 1019 and 1020. 1, go. 1, 2, 1 E and a 2, 1 E and a 2, and 1 and a 2, 1 and a 2, and a 1, a 2, a 1 and 2 E and 1 E and a 2. Yeah, very good. And I haven't got this solidified and set yet, but for your rhythmic video quiz this unit, 1019 and 1020 is going to be one of the exercises I'm going to be doling out, so to speak, or giving up among you all in the class here. So that's one of the ones. And I mean, if you can handle that now, it shouldn't be any trouble when it comes to video recording and rhythm. Okay. All right, last one we have to look at is 1021. Can I ask this individual student here, what would, let's see, what would we say for the first measure of 1021, just the first measure only? How about Riley, do you know?
1 and 3.
That's right, 1 and 3, good. How about the second measure? Colson, do you know?
1, 8 and 3.
Close. You just gotta fix the syllables on the 2 8s. It's not E and.
That's and then.
That's right, yeah. 1 and a 3. Mm-hmm. Oh, here's a girl. Measure 3. Let's see. Kylie, what would you say?
1 and a 2 and a 3 and a.
That's right. And then I don't need to bother asking for the last measure. Let's go ahead and read through 1021. Yeah, this time we're using the 3 pattern. How about a tempo of 1, 2, and 3. 1 and 3, 1 and a 3, 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 1. Yes, good. That's it. I think it's very much of a, sometimes we go from unit to unit and there's like a really big steep increase in challenge level. I don't think there's a really big increase in challenge level between what we did last unit, rhythmic wise, and what we're doing rhythmic wise here. So, but that's okay, because to me, what I think is the bigger challenge increase is what we got going on with the melodies. And so now I would like you to go back to page 69. Page 69. We're going to start chapter 5. Then the entire chapter 5 contains melodies in minor keys. It's the first chapter in the book that does that. Okay. Now, there are some things I want to say to you about minor melodies before we start actually singing minor melodies. It's been a while, but I'm sure it must have been even in the first semester. I don't know when the last time we did it, but I know we've sung all 3 forms of the minor scale before. And we need to go back and we need to start doing that. In fact, we're going to be doing that all the time. Start doing that regularly this unit. Okay? So for those of you that especially are not in my, or haven't talked about minor scales for a long time, who can tell me what are the three forms of the minor scale?
Natural, melodic, and harmonic.
Yeah, natural, melodic, and harmonic, in no particular order. And do you all remember that in the natural scale, we use the lowered 6th and 7th scale degrees, that is lay and te. In the harmonic minor scale for 6 and 7, we use lay and ti. And in the ascending form of the melodic minor scale, we use la and ti. On the way up, on the way down, we use lay and te, just like the natural version. So let's start there. I'm going to give us, what key did I pick for this? I think I picked G minor. Let's start practicing or singing some of these minor scales. Now, just because we're singing minor all class today doesn't mean I want you to be sad. It just means we're going to be doing that the whole class. Oh, I got to switch masks. If you guys want to switch masks, or if you've already got your sing mask on, that's fine. This thing does not fit. Okay. Does anyone remember Do? That is Do. Can we sing a natural minor scale up and down, please? Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, te, do, te, re, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Okay, so do you remember the hand sign for May? It's not a flat mi, but it's kind of a curve. Yeah, so that's May. And then lay, of course, is just face down la, and the te is the crimped T. Let's do the natural minor scale one more time. Okay. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, te, do, te, re, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Yeah, careful not to go to T in the natural minor scale. Now, we're going to switch gears, shift gears to go to the harmonic minor scale. If you want to listen to this quickly. Okay, that's the harmonic minor scale with raised 7, but still lowered 6. So let's sing the harmonic minor scale now. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, ti, re, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Who can tell me what interval or how much space is between lowered 6, lay, and raised 7, T?
It's a minor third?
Say again?
It's a minor third?
Yeah, it's equivalent and harmonic to a minor third. Technically, it's an augmented second. It's an augmented second, which is kind of difficult to sing, right? We try to stay away from and avoid writing those intervals melodically in our part writing. Okay? Finally, let's do the melodic minor scale, up and down. And this one on the way up includes raised 6 and 7. And on the way down, back to the natural minor. All right, here we go. Melodic minor, here we go. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, te, re, sol, fa, unit is to see how well you can tune the variations, the slight variations between lowered 6, raised 6, lowered 7, and raised 7. Because it does make a difference. We'll find out that lowered 7 and lowered 6 are used in general when a line descends, when a melody descends. And in general, when the line ascends, we use raised 6 La and raised 7 T. Although there are exceptions to that rule. There are exceptions to that rule. We'll talk about a little bit of those in a few minutes. Okay, so there are the three forms of the minor scale. Now, what I'd like to do is I would like to start arpeggiating and practicing singing the tones of the tonic chord in minor. I mean, how used to, we can probably do it without thinking. We're so used to do, mi, sol, mi, do. But are we used to doing do, me, sol, me, do, that kind of thing? All right. And for doing this, I'd like to change keys. And I'd like to also have you go to the bottom of page 70. There are 2 lines with whole notes there that give us lots of practice arpeggiating various combinations of notes from the tonic triad, the minor tonic triad. Now, on the bottom of page 70, it's written for you in D minor. I'm just going to pick another key so that we don't have to sing super high or sing super low, especially when we get to the second line. So let's shift keys to, how about this will be our new do. And so we have this really nice sound. Yeah, there's so much harmonic color and pitch variety in minor. I like it a lot. Okay, so using that as our do, can we, you just follow, we're all going to hand sign these. Just follow my hand sign for the tempo. We're just going to read through the first line, and then we're going to go to the second line and read through that. It's just all leaps between tones of the tonic triad, but especially when we get to the second line, I think it's a little trickier. Okay, ready? Here we go. Starting at the beginning. Do, me, sol, me, do. Do, me, sol, me, do. Sol, me, do. Sol, sol, do. Next line. Sol, do, me, do. Sol, me, sol, me, do. Sol, do, me, sol, me, Good. I like the sound of that. I don't know about you. It's a nice change. It's refreshing. And a nice change. Do you, especially when we sang the scales, the minor scales, do you feel something a little bit different in your throat connected to your mind? Like, ooh, I don't know if I've done that interval before. Or I don't know if I've sung that particular succession of notes before. That's the idea, to get really used to this. Just as used to this as we are with major scales, major keys. All right, good. Can you turn over to the top of page 71? Now, these vocal exercises are all in different keys, but I'm just going to keep them in the same key that we've been working in here. So we're not going to have to stop between each exercise. We're just going to sing right through them all in the same key. So let's see here. Yeah, let's go ahead and still use the same tonic. I think that's about where we are. Okay, these are going to be even trickier yet, but it's just leaps between tones of the tonic triad. Every 2 measures, as I said, the key changes. See if you can just start to mentally shift gears. We're going to stay in the same key. Like for instance, the first 2 measures are all E minor, but the next 2 measures are all G minor. So let's just, when we get to the second two measures, just pretend G is now Do. If you follow along with my hand signals, I think you'll figure out what I mean. All right, let's sing the first line. Here we go. Ready? Do, me, sol, do, sol, sol, do. Next one. Do, sol, do, me, sol, do. Okay, the next one's in the actual key that we're at. Okay, second line, here we go. Do, sol, me, do, me, sol, sol, do. Shift to B minor, but stay in the same pitch. Do, me, sol, do, sol, me, sol, do. Going to F sharp minor in the third measure, but stay on the same pitch. All right, so here's May, ready? Me, sol, do, sol, do, sol, sol, do. And then the last one, B flat minor. Do, sol, do, me, do, sol, me, do. Well, what are your thoughts? Is that, I mean, it's the first time maybe you've done a lot of that. That's not necessarily easy, even just to skip between tones of the tonic triad. I don't know what kind of warm-ups, vocal calisthenics, so to speak, that Dr. Armstrong has. You must do like 5 or 10 minutes of warm-up or something when you go to choir, right? Does he have some strenuous warm-ups sometimes? I guess it depends on which. Well, anyways, so hopefully now, after we've sung measure after measure after measure of minor scales and minor triad arpeggiation, let's take a look at some, how do I want to say, exceptions to the guideline that usually when the minor melody ascends, you use raised 7 and 6, and usually when the minor melody descends, you use lowered 7 and 6. Actually, before I show you some exceptions, can you go back to page 69? There's a nice tune there, a nice short melody in G minor that is used as an example to show you that, yes, when the melody goes down, we often use lowered 7 and 6, and when it goes up in minor, we often use raised 6 and 7. And I like this example on the bottom of page 69 because the scale degrees are actually shown there. The fluctuating scale degrees 6 and 7. You see how they have the down arrows 7 and 6 sometimes and the raised arrows 6 and 7? Change key here. That's in G minor, I believe. Okay. I would like to, I'll just pretend this is a conducting example. I'd like to sing through this example for you, and hopefully you'll be able to hear the slight variations or differences between lowered 7-6 and raised 7-6. Is that right? Okay, so if I were to sing this, I might do something like this. Do, re, re, sol, re, sol, fa, sol, sol, la, ti, do, re, mi, re, do, ti, do. You hear a little bit of the difference there? Can we all try that? Let's all try that. Okay, starting from the beginning, here's your do. All right, here we go. 1, 2, ready, and sing. Do, ever sung a tune with so many like small inflections of different pitch. Okay. All right, so now I would like you, just for an example, can you turn up to page 79? Page 79, and look at melody 538. In measure 2 of melody 538, we're in D minor, by the way, and you can see that we have this figure here. We have lowered 6, we have scale degree 7, which is lowered, and we have scale degree 6, which is lowered. So we have 3 lowered scale degrees. Now the question might become, why on earth is this 6 lowered when it actually goes up to 7? Kind of goes against the standard or the norm. The reason is because since this scale degree 6 over here actually goes down, the next note is lower, I believe. It goes down to scale degree 5. That means this one is lowered. And so if this one is lowered, then we're actually going to lower this one since they're right next to each other. They're really close. And so what we have in the 3-note figure that goes lay, te, lay. Lay, te, lay. Okay. It would be even weirder or awkward to sing la, te, lay. Okay. That's just not found common in tonal music. Okay. Also look at measure 3 in melody 538, and you'll see that we have this this 3-note idea where we have raised 7, followed by raised 6, followed by raised 7. Now the question is, why do we use raised 7 here when it goes down to scale degree 6? Well, part of the reason is because the last raised scale degree 7 goes up, as it should, to do. And so we want to maintain the same sound since they're right next to each other. And we don't want to go from raised 7 to lowered 6 because that would be an augmented second. So we raise 6 because 7 is raised, we raise 6 along with it so we don't have to sing an augmented second. Augmented second. Okay? Now, let's go ahead and get into D minor quickly for this one. Okay, let me go ahead and demonstrate 538 and then we'll all sing it. All right, and I'll just, let's see, no, this is hand sign, okay? So it would go, do, re, mi, fa, sol, le, te, le, sol, fa, me, re, do, ti, la, ti, do, do. Can we try that together? Yeah. I mean, obviously, when we sing in major, you don't have to mess around with the different fluctuations of scale degree 6 and 7. Okay, everyone on a do. And here we go. We're reading 538. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, le, te, le, sol, fa. So, fa, me, re, do, ti, la, ti, do, do, do. All right. And last example, at least 539 is right next to it. There are times in minor melodies where the line descends, like I have up here on the board, and yet even though it's descending, I'm using T and La, raised 7 and 6. Why on earth would I use raised 7 and 6 if the line is going down?
Because it's part of the chord progression.
Okay, well, you're basically, you're definitely on the right track. I use raised 7 and 6 on the way down because the implied harmony in this measure, in the key of G minor, the implied harmony is 5, or dominant. When we use a dominant chord in any minor key, don't we have to raise T with an accidental? Okay. So it doesn't really make sense initially to understand why are we using raised 7 and 6 on the way down. But I'd say from now on, if you see raised 7 and 6 in a line that's going down, you can assume that the harmony, implied harmony at that point, is probably dominant harmony. Because we have to use raised 7 so that it fits into the dominant harmony. And then raised 6 comes along for the ride again, so we don't sing a melodic augmented second. Okay? So if I were to, let me take this to the piano. If I were to play this, well, let me play the passage that I have on the board first as is, and you'll see how it actually makes sense to use raised 6 and 7 on the way down. So we have... Now, let me go ahead and play the passage again with lowered 7 and lowered 6 and see how funky that's going to sound against a dominant harmony that requires F sharp. See how that just sounds kind of waggy? But if I do it in the second measure, oh yeah, that's a lot better. So actually, like if you were to ever take a class later on in your career here called counterpoint, you'd find out that when you have raised 7 and 6 on the way down in the melodic line, it typically means that your harmony at that point is dominant. That's what that implies. Kind of a, well, it's not a super big thing, but it's kind of an important thing when it comes to writing music, you know, composing, things like that. All right, so with that said, now, let's go back to page 71. It used to be in this textbook how that the author, when you start the melodies in chapter 5, the author would give you all these melodies with all these fluctual variations of 6 and 7 right off the bat. You know, you'd have to start doing that right away. But with this 10th edition, yeah, the 10th edition that you have, the author has changed things slightly about the difficulty level of melodies in chapter 5, and that is, do you see the heading right above melody 5.1? It says melodies that don't even include 6 and 7. Okay, so that's where we're actually going to start practicing minor melodies. We're not going to even have to deal with 6 and 7 right away. We will a couple pages later, so I mean it's not going to be very long when we have to start doing that. But I think that I kind of like how the author has done this because he eases you into it. If you're so used to singing in minor and seeing the mi and the major and hearing everything in that sense, to switch gears and hear the minor mode and start singing May, that can be kind of tricky for some students. And when we practice a few of these melodies, as we will here, you'll see what I mean. Okay? So, for instance, I mean, I just don't want you to take it for granted and say, oh yeah, I can switch between major and minor, no problem. Maybe you can, that's fine, but maybe somebody next to you can't. Okay. All right, so can we take a look at melody 5-3? This is one that's actually assigned for Wednesday. What key are we in? Now remember, these are all minor keys, so what key are we in with 2 flats? G minor. Now, the question becomes, well, okay, let's say I'm quizzed on one of these minor melodies, you know, you draw my name from the bag. What scale am I going to sing before I sing my melody? Now we have 3 choices, right? Well, I'll tell you this, for right now, until we get further into the chapter and I start giving you shortcuts and tricks about how to find whether or not the melody uses natural minor, melodic minor, or harmonic minor, for now, can we all just sing a melodic minor scale before our tune, up and down? Because that'll cover all the bases. Scale to be 6 and 7. So we're going to do that right now. Okay, one more time a melodic minor scale, and then we'll practice this melody. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, te, re, Sorry, I didn't know which way I was gonna go there. In major, did I always go up to the high tone?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll try to continue from that. Okay, what's our first syllable in 5.3? Anyone? Soul. Where's soul? Soul never changes. Okay, 5.3 is conducting. Let's go ahead and see if we can sight read through 5.3. How about a tempo of 1, 2, ready and sing. Sol, sol, fa, re, do, re, do, re, fa, re, do, re, do, fa, sol, sol, fa, do. Okay, again, some of you are probably like, yeah, this is no sweat. If this is not hard for you, great. Be thankful that it's not that tricky. For some students, it's a big shift. It's a big change. They don't quite hear the tones coming up because they're not used to hearing that kind of interval of that sound yet as it approaches. Don't you? I don't know. I kind of find these minor melodies, I find them refreshing. I mean, yeah, they're kind of sad and melancholy, but yet it's still like, ooh, what a nice sound. What a nice sound. All right, let's just go through, read through one more. How about, none of these are in the same key. I want to look through one more that you've got assigned for next time. How about, well, you want to do 5/9 or 5/10? 5/9? Okay. Anyone here 5'9"? Exactly? No? Good. This one. Okay, so what key are we in 5/9? F minor, that's right. Oh, this gets even lower. And let's do a melodic minor scale first. Okay, here we go. Do, re, fa, sol, la, ti, do, te, re, sol, fa, re, do. Arpeggi. Do, re, sol, do, sol, re, do. I think I'm going to sing mine up an octave. Okay, this one's conducting. Do your best to sight read through this one. How about a tempo of 1, 2. Do, re, fa, sol, fa, re, do, sol, fa, re, do, re, do, re, fa, sol, fa, re, do, sol, fa, re, do. Sounds good from where I'm standing. Okay, so maybe now you can see why I didn't assign any ear training for Wednesday, because I didn't really want to spend any time doing some ear training in class. I thought it's good to really hit minor melodies hard so you have plenty of strategies and practice and ways to prepare for your melodies for next time. Okay, does anyone have any questions about anything? All right, so for those of you that have me for the next hour, did you all get my email that said we're not having theory today? So we're going to stop here for today, and yeah, have a good rest of your morning and your afternoon. afternoon. And I'll see you when I see you. I did. You sent it out for a reference Friday, so I didn't really look at the email much over the weekend. So I saw it, and so, well, I guess my questions are number one, I didn't receive any official note from student health or from the dean of students like I got from the other students.
Well, it's now. It is now.
Oh,
I'm pretty sure when you get
okay.
a patient, it has to do with like getting warm, like eggs. Well, like you can't even be like, no, just yeah. You know, look, it's okay. When you, it's like, yeah, it's like you incubate chickens. Yeah, exactly. That's basically what it is. Yeah, I already ordered it. Oh, that's I'm gonna get exercise and then go to the reactor. I'm gonna go make
Because in my head, I'm like, you don't have any of the
Yeah, that was the thing too, is the fact that it came after I had already missed it.
I was just like,
It's okay, I don't, like, I love coffee, but it doesn't have to be coffee. I was learning so much
Okay.
to not to
Well,
drink that.
okay, I probably will, in fact, I might have to
Yeah,
talk
I
to
can't
you
really drink that, I'm
about
just like,
you know, is there any protocol for people to self-quarantine?
I'm gonna go to the
Because
outside.
so far I've been
I might
just
be
doing it
there.
for, you know, when I get
Getting prepared.
emails from
Alright.
student health or from the dean of students.
I guess.
So I'm gonna have to check on that. There are two other students in here that have not taken the sightseeing test yet because they're on official
Yeah.
quarantine. Maddie is one of them and Kieran is another. So by the time they come back, I'll hopefully have gotten an answer, and when they make up their test, I'll see if you can make up your
Okay.
test, okay?
Because I asked Dr. Farr when it happened, I was like, Dr. Farr, what do you think? Do you think I should still go to class? Because yes, we're all wearing masks. She was like, no, I think that it is the appropriate thing to do, stay
Right.
home and just.
I almost kind of wish, though, I mean, I know they don't have record of your friend, I almost wish you would have gone to student health or
Okay,
somebody would have tested you or checked on something so I could have gotten an official
okay, I
email
get
in the
that, I
future.
get that, I get that. Because she did, on Saturday, she texted me, she's like, hey, Tanya, I'm negative, you're good to go. And I was like,
So I was gonna ask them, is that why you're here today?
yeah, that's why I'm here today. She
Okay.
got her test back and it was negative. And I was like, okay, I can go to classes now, it's good. Or else I'm gonna still stay home.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's wait, I'll see what I can find out, and I'll wait till the other two students from this class come back and
All right.
see if we can make up your test.
All right, thank you.
Uh-huh.
Can I grab the sign sheet for Hannah?
Oh, yes. Do you know why, Hannah?
Well, she slept through all of her alarms.
Oh.
I was like, you
I was-
good?
I was thinking, is she quarantining too?
No, she goes, I slept in, I slept through all my alarms, I'm very upset right now.
Okay, well, there's one for her.
Cool.
At least she's not missing theory, I guess.
Yes.
She's gonna have to get the minor mode in her head on her own, though, I guess. for-
She'll be okay,
for
I'm
this
not
class.
late.
Okay.